Hi guys, and welcome to the latest edition of my YouTube channel. I'm trying to reinvent my YouTube channel, put a new set of videos on there, see what I can do with it, hopefully bring it back to life, because I think my last active proper video was about 8 or 9 years ago. So here we go, this is video predictions for WWE pay-per-views, and they're normally written on a blog. If you follow me at all on any form of social media, if you go to dan3hityou.com/blog, you will find all my blogs there. Generally they're predictions, and 8 times out of 10, they're pretty much correct. I've also joined Reddit section for WWE, so I will be posting that as well. So let's start. As you can see on screen, on your left, as you're looking at the screen, you've got Callisto, and on your right, you've got the big muscular guy called Ryback. In my opinion, what they need to do is give this belt to Ryback. I believe for the second month in a row, it could be the third, I could be wrong, please someone correct me. It's on the pre-show. It's a belt, it should not be on the pre-show. This definitely needs to be on the main card. Give Ryback the belt, see what he can do with it, and if he can't do anything with it, either bring back the European title and have only Europeans fight for that, the United States Championship, have only United States people fighting for that championship, and then the Intercontinental belt can be all over the world, similar to like the World Heavyweight Championship. Just everyone in any region can go for the IC belt. The US, only US people can go for the US belt. Europeans, only Europeans can go for that belt. That, in my opinion, would be much better. So, give the belt to Ryback. Let's see what he can do. Let him have some sort of creative freedom. His best promo, in my opinion, was when he was talking about the injury he got, where he damaged his calf or his leg. He was speaking from the heart, so it was a good promo. Let him do that again. Let him carry on in that, and he will either generate heat or he'll generate fan favoritism. Let him do that. If it doesn't work, he needs to rebrand himself completely, repackage, or move organisations and keep similar to the Ryback gimmick. Okay, so now we're on to The Miz, who's the Intercontinental Champion on your left, and then on your right you've got Cesaro, the Swiss Superman. In my opinion, I want Cesaro to have this belt, give him a massive reign up to maybe next WrestleMania, but it won't happen. They've just given the belt to The Miz. Maurice has come back for whatever reason, and I don't see Cesaro winning. It's probably going to be by some form of ridiculous distraction. Despite them being both fully grown men, I'm not sure how any form of distraction in modern day 2016 can happen. You should, as a sportsman, which is what this technically is, you should be in the zone. It doesn't matter what happens. It's, for an example, when you've got anyone in the NRL or in rugby league or in football or soccer, if they've got a penalty kick or a free kick or whatever, they're in that zone. It doesn't matter what you say in the crowd, no matter how loud you are, they can't even hear you. They're in that zone and they should concentrate only on that. So what I'm saying is, when Cesaro is fighting The Miz, it doesn't matter what happens around him, he should be concentrating on The Miz. Anything could happen, but it wouldn't affect him because he's a true athlete and a sportsman. He should be in that zone. So to basically cap it all off, Miz is going to win. I don't want him to, but he is going to win. Okay, what we've got here is great potential ruined by WWE Creative. What they need to do is hire me or hire someone that has any idea in how to book women's wrestling, because what they're doing with the new belt is absolutely atrocious. It is basically going back 10 years. What they've just done with this feud, it is pointless. There's no need to have Ric Flair there. There's no need to have Bret Hart there. What should happen is Natty and Charlotte being the champion holding the belt, they should have a clean match. In my opinion, give it to Natty. She's not really ever had the belt, ever, in a lengthy reign, and she is possibly the best, if not definitely a top 3. Definitely a top 3 competitor. The more I see Charlotte in the ring, I feel like she's not that good. For an example, you only have to go back to, I think it was last year, when it was Charlotte versus Nikki. Nikki carried that match. Nikki Bella is someone who was as good as Eva Marie about 2 years ago, where Brie Bella was technically better than her. That's her twin sister, and Brie Bella was the better one. You could tell by a mile. However, I don't know what Nikki Bella has done. She, in my opinion, is now a top 3 tier wrestler for the women. She can carry matches. She's seriously good now. I don't know, something must have hit her over the head or something like that, but she's really good. What I'm trying to say is, in my opinion, Charlotte needs to drop the belt. It won't happen now. What will probably happen is Ric Flair will try and get involved. Bret Hart will go around, he will punch Ric Flair. The crowd will do a big pop because that's what we want to see. Charlotte will probably do a sneaky roll up on Natty and get a 3 count. And then I don't even know what will happen after that. What will probably happen is Sasha Banks win the belt at SummerSlam. We all probably know that. So we're just going to move on with this. Charlotte wins. Okay, so now we're on to a match I'm a bit 50-50 about. We've got Sami Zayn on your left, El Generico, and on your right you've got Kevin Owens, or Kevin Steen as he was previously known before they both entered WWE. The reason I'm 50-50 on this is because this feud needs to continue no matter what. In my opinion, just to get straight to the winner, I believe it's going to be Zayn with a cheeky roll-up, which would prompt Kevin Owens to go a bit angry, a bit mad after the match, hitting the powerbomb on the apron or through a table, the announcer's table. If that doesn't happen because previously Charlotte has done a roll-up for a sneaky win, I'm going to go with an Owens win. But then obviously the feud is going to continue because it needs to. Whenever these two meet in a proper match, it's almost 5-star quality every time. This feud needs to continue at least until the next pay-per-view. In my opinion, I would drag it out to Money in the Bank, where they both would be in the match. They would cost each other the match, which Rollins eventually wins, but that's for in the future. I'm not going to talk about that yet. They cost each other, and then the next pay-per-view, following Money in the Bank, they end their rivalry in maybe a 2 out of 3 falls match, something like that, something definitive. So, briefly, Zayn wins by a cheeky roll-up, unless Charlotte's already done the cheeky roll-up, then Owens wins. The feud continues in 3 weeks at Extreme Rules, where they probably fight in some sort of gimmick match. Alright, now we're into the tag match for the number 1 contendership for the tag belts. So the tag belts are not on the line. The winner of this goes to face the New Day, who are the champs, at Extreme Rules, I believe. So on the far left you've got Big Cass. On the centre left you've got Enzo Amore, they're a team, Enzo and Cass. And then on the right hand side you've got Simon Gotch, who's centre right. And then you've got Aiden English on the far right. They're the Vaudevillains. What's going to happen here is the Vaudevillains are going to win. There is no reason to give Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy the big push yet. Their whole gimmick is not winning the big one. It happened in NXT all the time. They would get so far, and then lose at the last hurdle. My opinion is give them the win on the biggest stage, whether it's SummerSlam or whether it's WrestleMania. They need to win on a big stage because that's their gimmick. They haven't won the big one yet. Plus, they don't need the win. They're already over with the crowd. When they come out, they get a huge reaction and it's always positive. And to be honest, what Vince probably sees is Big Cass, who's just shy of 7 foot tall. And then you've got a little... He's not even little, he's like 6 foot, just shy of 6 foot. Enzo Amore, it doesn't matter what happens. All Vince is seeing is the big guy, and he's going to break him up with Enzo eventually and push him. So what's going to happen in this match is, hopefully, it's going to be a clean win. And I'm going to go Vaudevillains for this one. Now we're going on to Dolph Ziggler on the left, and you've got the guy on the right, which is Baron Corbin, who was from NXT and is now on the main roster completely. Easiest match to pick. Corbin wins clean. In my opinion, Ziggler and his followers, they're losing Ziggler now. We're at a stage where Ziggler is stale. He doesn't have a gimmick. If he does, please tell me what his gimmick is, because I'm confused. He needs to completely reinvent himself. And in my opinion, he should have left WWE when there was offering him a new contract. He should have said no. He should have gone elsewhere, reinvented his character, and then come back to the WWE for a big impact. I assume, not putting words into his mouth or anything like that, he didn't leave because he was scared he couldn't get back. It's guaranteed money in WWE. He doesn't have to do any independent bookings that way. But he seems very stale in my opinion. He needs to do a complete gimmick overhaul, completely change his entire character, change his hair, change everything about him, because he's been the same guy for about 6 years and it hasn't worked. He had that big push and then it got cut short and it's just terrible. WWE don't know what to do with him. Change your gimmick, otherwise you are really destined to fail, man. Seriously, I was a huge fan, but you're just so stale. You don't do anything anymore. You're not inventive, you're not creative, you're just boring. So Corbin wins this one very clean, probably with the end of days. This one, 50-50 also, just like the Kevin Owens Sami Zayn match. On your left you've got Dean Ambrose, the Lunatic Fringe, and on the right you've got Chris Jericho, Y2J, Dad Bod. What I think will happen here is Y2J, Chris Jericho, will get the win, setting up an Extreme Rules match at Extreme Rules between the two, because Ambrose's character now is that he's crazy and he does weapons and he does stunts and everything like that. So the logical choice is Ambrose wins this match, but then that would cut the feud. I don't think this is a 1 month feud. I think with the next pay-per-view only 3 weeks away, which is really ridiculous by the way, Jericho wins this match. Or Ambrose wins via DQ due to Jericho breaking the rules and the referee seeing. Either way, there's another match in 3 weeks, but if I had to bet on the match, which you can do by the way, I would probably go with... I'm going to go with a Jericho win via a codebreaker. Okay, you have Roman Reigns on the left hand side and you've got AJ Styles on the right hand side. The reason AJ Styles is not winning this match is not because he's not good enough, not because he doesn't deserve it, it's because Vince is in charge. There is no way Vince will ever let the top TNA champion, who was the rival organisation, hold their main belt, because he's petty. He's an old man and he's petty. If Triple H was in charge behind the stage, behind the scenes and everything like that, AJ Styles would probably win this match, whether it was now or in the future. We're not going to get into how bad Reigns is on the mic. We all know how he should be booked. He should be booked as the strong silent type and occasionally talking. There is no need for him to come out and cut a promo because he cannot do it. You're making us see his flaws. Book him like the bad guy in The Shield, where he never spoke unless he had to and he just ran through people. That is why people liked him. Also, what pisses me off the most is he's still wearing the Shield gear and still wearing the Shield... wearing the Shield gear and using the Shield's music. Get your own gimmick and move on from the Shield. It's long gone. You're the only one that needs it because you're still not over with the crowd. You need your own gimmick. Whether it is a Samoan badass gimmick, just get rid of the music, get rid of the Shield gear, completely reinvent yourself, and hold the belt. Just be yourself. There's no need to be the contrasting person that you are. You say it's one versus all, yet you have your family help you every week. That's not one versus all. That's being a massive hypocrite. Or creative, just don't understand what the difference is. So what I'm going to go with here is, in terms of a win or a loss, I'm going to go with AJ Styles wins, but by DQ, meaning he doesn't win the belt and they can end the show, which is in Chicago, I believe, with some sort of interference or something like that. There's a big rumour going around that Finn Balor is going to debut tonight. I don't believe that's what they should do. In my opinion, if they was going to debut Balor, he needs to come out as the Demon. That would give off the biggest impact. So I don't think that's what they're going to do. They might do that and save the Demon persona for a different event or anything like that, but they need to treat the Demon and Balor as two separate characters, because that, in my opinion, is what they are. As much as they are the same person with one guy wearing paint, it needs to be similar to Mankind and Cactus Jack, where they were two different people. That's what Finn Balor needs to be. So if they bring Balor up, he needs to beat Balor and have the Bulletproof Balor Club, is what I believe the group will be called, where it's Finn Balor, Gallows and Anderson. I don't believe they're going to turn on AJ. I can see a 4 versus 4 or even a 5 versus 5 in a few months, with Samoa Joe coming up as well, joining the Balor Club, or something similar like that for Survivor Series. But in terms of tonight's booking, I'm going to go AJ Styles, win by DQ. Roman Reigns then probably spears everyone, and Reigns wins lol. Basically like Cena wins lol. Because it doesn't matter how you book him, Vince is at the back going, got to make him look strong. So we're going with Reigns. No, we're not. Sorry, we're going with AJ with a DQ win, so Reigns keeps the belt. Yada, yada, yada. Alright, now we've probably got the final segment, or if not the previous final segment, would be Vince McMahon coming out for his big announcement. What I reckon's going to happen is, realistically, Vince is probably going to come out and go, you were both rubbish, I'm in charge. So we'll leave it at that. However, I think we might see something along the lines of Triple H coming out. There's a possibility of that. I really don't know, but in a realistic term, Vince is probably going to come out and go, I'm going to run Raw for 2 to 3 weeks, and then Triple H is going to have a go, and they'll probably play it the safe route. So in terms of me, if it was me booking, me being in control of the entire company, I would do it this way. I would have him come out. I would say, Triple H, you're in charge of Raw and SmackDown for the next 2 or 3 weeks. Show us what you can do. I would book Stephanie and Triple H as faces, just like Shane was. So in 2 to 3 weeks, as a fan, you're thinking, okay, they've all done really well in the last 6 or 7 weeks. Who do I want in charge? And eventually I'd probably put them in a match against each other with 3 or 4 other people on each team at Survivor Series, not SummerSlam, Survivor Series. So I would drag it out that long, and I'd probably do it that way, and I would see who's obviously getting the most ratings and such, but I would also make SmackDown go live on Tuesdays, because I feel with it being a pre-recorded show, it doesn't reflect as much as it could do. There is also another way I would book this. This would be my favourite way. I would have Vince come out and say, we're going for a brand split. We're going to have Raw live, we're going to have SmackDown live, and NXT is obviously going to be recorded, but they're going to do the occasional live NXT, which is going to be difficult to do. However, I would go for that, and I would publicly come out and say Triple H has been in charge for NXT all this time. He's in charge of that. Shane is going to be in charge of Raw, and I, Vince McMahon, am going to be in charge of SmackDown. Because if SmackDown was live on a Tuesday and Vince was in charge, would you watch it? The answer is probably yes. So I would probably do that, and then have some sort of massive pay-per-view, create one, get rid of some of the old ones, brand new one, go for it. People from NXT, people from SmackDown, people from Raw. You don't need World Championship belts on each one. I would go for that, and then just have some sort of massive event. Not for a winner takes all, just similar to like bragging rights and stuff like that. I would go for that. But just to recap, what I think will happen is Vince will come out and say he's in charge, because he's Vince and I'm the boss, damn it. Everything I say goes. I said it was only temporary, Shane, and it is. And then that's pretty much it. So those were my predictions. If you want to read them instead, I'll keep them very brief on my blog, which would be dan3hityou.com/blog. Give it a read. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's the same. It's at dan3hityou. Twitch is the same, dan3hityou. And YouTube is also the same, dan3hityou. Also, 3hityou works for YouTube as well. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any suggestions, comments, or anything like that, do comment. I will read them, and I will pretty much reply to every comment. That's what I want to do for this one, just to see if it works. If not, I'll see you on Reddit. Thanks for watching.